On July 19, 2011, the U.S. Space Shuttle Atlantis undocked from the International Space Station, ISS, for the last time and began its journey back to Earth. 2 days later, Atlantis descended toward a runway at the Kennedy Space Center, still cloaked with darkness in the pre-dawn gloom. It was here, at NASA's sprawling launch complex on the Florida coast, that America's journey into space had begun. It was from here that John Glenn became the first American to circle the globe, that Neil Armstrong took a giant leap for mankind, and that the Hubble Space Telescope set off on its pilgrimage to image the cosmos. But in July 2011, Atlantis's arrival marked not a new beginning, but a conclusion. The shuttle touched down on the runway, the whine of its hydraulic power unit slowing and then fading entirely. "Having fired the imagination of a generation," the broadcast commentator said as Atlantis slid to a stop, "the space shuttle pulls into port for the last time, its voyage at an end." NASA's Space Shuttle program, for 30 years a crown jewel of the American space enterprise, was no more. In the wake of the miraculous but costly Apollo lunar missions of the 1960s, the shuttle program had been intended to make spaceflight more accessible and affordable through its fleet of 5 space planes: Atlantis, Challenger, Columbia, Discovery, and Endeavour, and in so doing, take the country's next steps toward developing the final frontier. But the shuttle program struggled to deliver fully on that vision, and in 1986 it was struck by tragedy when Challenger exploded shortly after launch. All 7 astronauts on board were lost. Then, in 2003, another tragedy. While re-entering the atmosphere over the southeast United States, Columbia disintegrated. 7 more astronauts were lost, and with them the shuttle program, which policymakers decided would be shut down at the end of the decade. The second shuttle disaster and the cancellation of the program threw the U.S. space enterprise into crisis. The shuttle was America's only means of putting humans in space, so its cancellation made apparent to everyone the lack of any homegrown alternatives for launching crew and cargo to the ISS, the U.S. foothold in Earth orbit. The only option would be to pay Russia tens of millions of dollars for seats on its Soyuz rocket. For the United States, a country that had beaten the Soviet Union to the moon in 1969 and enjoyed 4 decades since as the world's preeminent space power, it was unthinkable and humiliating. Such an inglorious end to the shuttle era therefore seemed to signal the end of a dream, born in the Apollo era, that the United States would lead humanity into space for the benefit of all. America's, and perhaps the world's, best days in space appeared to be in the past.